So you're going to Houston. What did you say? Saturday for an interview?
Thursday. So pretty soon here.
Thursday. Why did I think Saturday? Like
I
how
don't
those
know,
aren't even
man.
those aren't even the same thing. They have like two letters in fucking common other than day. Don't give me that shit about.
hmm
Oh, every day has day in it.
Dude,
What?
fucking this trans app.
Mm-hmm.
I
Oh,
raved about it.
we talking about this again?
Well, I'm just giving you an update.
Okay,
I'm just keep you in the loop, man.
I'm all
Keeping you
about here.
and the listeners in the loop on my
I'm all about here in the loop.
attempts at procuring a long-term relationship out here. And
Yeah.
man, I gotta be honest, bro. It really slowed down. Like after I pretty much ghosted that last chick, which
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if I consider a ghost, and I just stopped texting her because I didn't want to pen pal. And I made it clear on my profile, I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to pen pal. Like I'm here to make stuff happen in real life.
I'm here to fuck.
Yeah. So it's just like, but anyways, I after her, like, now I've really put in a lot of time, kicked into overdrive. Like I messaged a bunch of chicks, and like none of them have gotten back to me. Even that one that girl that I see at my nightclub once in a while, who turned
Uh-huh.
out to be a groovy girl, she
Uh-huh.
was on there. Hit her up and haven't gotten anything back from her yet. Like the one thing I would like, if they could update that app, is I would like to know if like people have seen or read my messages. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of sites, like if you're a paid member, they
Mm-hmm.
allow you to see like, oh yeah, this
Oh
person
yeah, yeah, yeah.
has
If it's
either
red.
this person has read your message, or it's all these messages are unread because they're not using the app. Like
Right.
I would just like to know.
Right.
So that would really
Uh
help out my journey and my searches. Then I wouldn't be like, oh man, like none of these girls like me. They would just be like, oh, they're just not using the app, and whenever the fuck they get back on, they'll get back on.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's always a fucking pain in the ass.
yeah.
I remember back when I was in the dating scene too. It was that same sort of thing where it's like, did they fucking read it? Did they not? And it's like I
hmm
don't fucking know. It's like all I want to know is if they read it because my phone battery's dying and I can't constantly be checking this shit. Um, and it's driving me
Yeah.
up the fucking wall. What was I gonna say? Did you message? I know you were gonna message that the MILF. Did you message the MILF chick?
You know what? I don't think I did. And to
Oh,
be honest, I'd have to go. I'd really have to go searching to find her again. Yeah, I mean,
really? I
she
thought
was
she was
bad,
local.
man. No, I mean like searching like on the app to find her profile again.
Oh yeah, well, so do that. I mean,
Yeah,
she doesn't want anything but
I'd have to look to find her, but
she doesn't want anything but the sex. It's perfect
yeah, yeah,
because she's already married and she's just like, I want sex.
yeah, yeah. So
Right.
guys, this older trans lady, she's like what, like 45, 50.
Yeah, I don't know, something like
She's up
that.
there some. Well, she's up there somewhere. She's older,
She's a milf.
but she was a gay man married to another gay man, and she transitioned, and she's actually really good looking, and her husband, didn't want this. He's not
Mm-hmm.
interested in it really. So, now she's looking for sex elsewhere, and maybe it's set up in their relationship that this is okay. So she's just looking to get the D.
Getting the D.
So gotta
And
put
that's why
myself in line to be one of them dudes.
and that's why I think you should messenger. And I think that all of our listeners are out there like, dude, bro.
Really, really, really won't? No?
Yeah,
Won't he?
well, yeah,
Won't he? No, no.
they're gonna be disappointed.
Yeah, they're gonna be disappointed. I probably won't do it because I got a lot of shit going
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
on.
Hey, speaking about trans stuff, you want to talk about trans stuff? Let's talk about trans stuff. Hey
Okay.
guys, welcome, welcome to Trans Talk for Men.
Yep.
I always forget what the intro's supposed to be. I really need to write that shit down and practice it, but whatever. You guys know the drill. Trans Talk for Men. We're here to talk to you about, as trans amorous men, about issues that men face who like trans chicks. Man, I feel like these intros are getting worse. I think we're gonna lose all our followers. I think is what's gonna happen here.
Ooh, jeez.
Just based on this intro, they're gonna be like, "Wow, Eric's fucking terrible." As always, I'm Eric, and I'm with my buddy Chris. Chris, say hello.
Hey, everybody.
Hey everybody, and today we've got quite the lineup for you. We've got a few topics to cover, and it's going to be real fun, real trans related stuff and things. The first thing we want to talk about is we need you guys out there, you listeners, to rate us. Specifically 5 stars. If you're not going to rate us 5 stars, don't fucking do it. Don't do it. I'll know if you do it, and
Don't be 4-star guy.
I'll
Be
fucking
5-star
find you.
guy.
I'll find you if you rate us lower than 5 stars. I'm just letting you know. I have a very peculiar set of skills, and apparently one is not speaking clearly. Anyway, because I fucking stumbled over that. Yeah. So if you guys want to rate us 5 stars, that would help us greatly. It helps us move up on the boards. Helps more people find us. Helps us get out there, helps us grow. And helping us grow, which we'll get more into this in a minute about our social media presence, helping us grow really helps us, one, reach more people, but it helps us make a better show. With more people that we have, the more power we have, the more questions we can answer from you guys.
The better guests we can get.
Yeah, I was going to say, the better guests we can get, we can really make a better show that way. And really make this into something powerhousey. So, guys, 5 stars. Just do it. It's simple. Just be like, 5 stars. 5 stars. And yeah, you know what? Until people start 5-starring us, I think we're going to keep doing this every episode, and we're going to irritate the shit out of you. Because I know it irritates the shit out of me, and I listen to podcasts all day, every day. And I'm going to keep
ratings,
I'm going to keep doing it. 5-star ratings. Like Chris said, don't be the 4-star guy. Don't do it. I mean, let's be honest, Chris. Trans girls hate 4-star guys. They only want 5-star guys. I've heard that hundreds of thousands of times. I mean, I'm certain you
really?
have too in the club. Oh yeah, all the time. All these girls are like, "Oh, I hate these 4-star guys or below." They're like, "We want nothing but 5-star guys." When I was in that club where the girl gave me the lap dance, she asked me, she's like, "Are you a 5-star guy?" I'm like, of course I'm a 5-star guy.
Shout out to Susie Villa,
New York.
God
somewhere
damn,
like
man.
50
That shit's on my bucket list, bro. I'm getting out there one of these days.
Yeah, you and me, we'll get out there. It'll be fun. We'll do it. It's not like
list.
It's not like New York's in Antarctica. It ain't that far.
Yeah.
So, but let's talk about social media real quick. So, guys, I know I've mentioned it before. But we do have a Twitter page, which we're still using. That's you can find us at trans_talk_men on Twitter. We have a new Instagram account, and that's the Trans Talk for Men Instagram account. We've got a clip up on Instagram TV. It's how long is it, Chris? 9 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that?
10 minutes.
10-minute clip. It's kind of a teaser for one of our shows, and if you're a regular listener, you've already heard the show, but still go there. Give us a thumbs up or whatever the fuck they do on Instagram. Chris runs the Instagram. I don't know.
Yep. If you like what we're talking about here on the show, go to our Instagram, go to our Facebook, get on there, start conversations, talk with other people that are into the show as well.
Yep.
I'm really, really, really looking to generate a community here online.
Yep.
And, liking us on Facebook, following us on Instagram would go a long way to making that possible.
Well, I haven't even gotten to Facebook yet.
Oh yeah,
Facebook, we're building quite the presence on Facebook. We've only got the one video up. It's the same 10-minute clip, but it's already got 850 views on Facebook. And it's growing. And guys, we want you to find our Facebook page. That's the Trans Talk for Men Facebook page. It's the official Facebook page. You'll see our logo on there. It's the same logo that we use for the podcast, plus a little banner and stuff like that. It's all nice and whatnot. Go there, like Chris said, start conversations, leave comments, give us thumbs up, help us get more views, more sees, more likes.
And if you guys want to reach out to us, by all means, hit us in the DMs, man. If you have any questions for that you want to send the show.
Yep.
We do have the email address, transtalkformen@gmail.com. But in addition to that, dude, just DM us on Instagram, hit our inbox on Facebook
or Twitter,
or tweet us.
Yeah, we are.
All those platforms are open to you to get a hold of us.
We're
ask
everywhere
questions.
now.
We will take those questions. If we don't have the answers, we'll get an expert on the line,
and we'll find somebody who has the answers. I mean, it's not that hard, and we're willing to go out of our way to get those answers for you guys. I mean, we do the show for you guys, for us as men, for the community as a whole. And we want to do that. So yeah, we're all over fucking online now. So we've got the podcast, we've got the social media. We're talking about getting a YouTube page up. We're gonna
Hmm.
get fucking everywhere. We're gonna be up so up in your shit. Uh,
So find us,
balls
like
deep.
us, help us build our numbers, help us build this community
Do it.
of trans attracted men.
Do it.
Do it. Come on,
Do it.
do it.
Do it. Do it. Bop it. Do it. I just watched that recently, the Starsky and Hutch
Oh
remake.
yeah,
It's on Netflix.
nice.
I love that part. Do it. Do it. So real quick, I want to talk about the social media. Um, so we've gotten some comments on there, and it's so fucking funny to me, some of these comments that pop up, because they're so ridiculous. Because a couple of the comments have been like, what the fuck is this shit doing on my feed and stuff like that, and like, why the fuck do I'm like, did you really go out of your way to comment on something when you can just take care of it yourself? I'm like, you can just remove that from your feed. I'm pretty sure you can adjust your Facebook however the fuck you want, and it
Hmm.
cracks me up when uh
Or what was the other guy? Was like the only training I'm
trannies.
interested in is was a car or something like
Yeah,
that.
it's the
Some dumb shit, but
mechanic term for a transmission, which is short for
yeah.
tranny, and then he named the type of transmission that he wants. But what really cracks me up, like I said, is the people who are like, get this shit off of my Facebook, and I'm like, you remove it yourself. To me, that's like going to the grocery store and be like, are those fucking oranges? Get these fucking oranges out of my way. Get them out of go around them. Don't buy the oranges. Whatever. I'm like, it's ridiculous. Um,
Hmm.
it's such nonsense, and it's humorous to me. It doesn't even make me mad. It's just more than anything, it's just funny that I'm like, wow, you have such a nothing life. And yeah, I'm calling you assholes out. I'm like, you have such a nothing life that you have to just comment on everything that you don't like. um Man, if I commented on everything I didn't like every day, I don't think I'd ever get out of bed. um like, it's just,
Yep.
it just cracks me up. But we're gonna move on from social media real quick because we
All
have an
right.
email question.
Yep.
So super exciting stuff. The email comes from a guy named Apollo Lead. Uh, he sent me his name, so I'm putting it out there. So Apollo says, so he has a question in there, but he also has a little statement before. He says, I loved all the episodes of your podcast. I think he jumped in. I spoke with him a little more in correspondence. I'm pretty sure he's listened to all of them now. Obviously, except for the one that's going to be launched just after. Well, I mean, it'll be launched 2 weeks ago when you guys listen to it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Anyway, loved all the episodes of your podcast. Can't wait to hear more topics. Now, here's this question: could you guys talk about your first time with a trans woman in public? Were you anxious or nervous? So we're going to take that one step at a time because he has a follow up question to that. Um,
Hmm.
but could we talk about the first time we were with a trans woman in public? Were we anxious? Were we nervous? So, the first time, I'll jump into this one. The first time I was with a trans girl in public was my first trans girlfriend, and I was all sorts of things. I was nervous, um, because that was really my first step into it. You know, it takes a while to adjust to something. It's something new. We've talked about this before. You don't want to be like uh seen as like, oh, look at that gay guy over there dating that guy and all that sort of stuff. It's embarrassing for the guy, but it's also, you worry about the girl too. You don't want her to be embarrassed, that kind of thing. So you just want to be seen as a normal couple. You really want to be left alone. That's kind of how I was thinking, is like, I didn't want eyes on me all the time. Didn't want to be judged. But what I also remember about the first time that I was with a trans girl in public was, uh, I was acting strangely because it was so exciting for me to be real to myself and be dating a trans woman and finally being open with who I am and stuff like that, that I got a huge adrenaline rush. And when I get a really big adrenaline rush, and this is ridiculous, when I get a really big adrenaline rush like that, I start to fucking shake. Like, my whole body starts to fucking shake. So I look like a person who's coming off of a really bad crack high. They're like, what's wrong with that person? He's like, fucking, his whole body's like fucking convulsing and shivering. So I think I was more weird than she was. She didn't, come across as weird or anything. But yes, the answer, the long and the short of it is, of course, I was nervous the first time. Of course, I was anxious the first time, but it does fade rather. It did, at least for me, it faded rather quickly. It didn't bother me after, just like a day or two of being seen with her in public. Kicking it over to you, buddy.
Oh, yeah, man. I wasn't nervous at all. I think we went to a fair, a lake. It was it was like some like community fair right by the lake. So the whole little town that she lived in was out. So I mean, there were a lot of people there. It wasn't like we were just walking down the street and there were a couple people. Like it was a lot of people, lots of kids. Everybody was out there, and we just had a really relaxing day. We just walked around, listened to a band here and there, and got a massage, bought some trinkets, chilled out, ate some sweets. Like it was pretty dope. So I wasn't nervous at all. Like she was. I mean, I was confident enough in her looks that it wouldn't be a problem. So I mean, we were good to go. And I mean, we had met some other friendly couples out there, and yeah, it was actually a pretty good day. Um, but that was my first time being out in public with a trans woman. It was at a very crowded event, and it was pretty cool.
Two
With it,
things.
man.
Yeah, two things about that is one, I have no doubt, knowing you, that you would totally be playing it cool. Uh, you're the real suave kind of. I mean,
Oh
especially,
no.
well, no, especially, okay. Between the two of us, you are definitely more of the suave individual than me. I am definitely much more of a spaz. Um,
Mm.
so I could definitely imagine you just being like, you were probably looking fly as fuck and all that shit, and you were probably just like dressed to impress and just being a cool dude and all that sort of shit. But the other thing I wanted to get to is, you said it was the fair next to the lake, and it just popped into my head. Have you ever seen that video? It's a bit old, where the girlfriend throws a fucking temper tantrum in the guy's truck because he won't take her to the lake.
No, I didn't see that
Oh,
one.
it's pretty old. I suggest, I can't fucking figure out. I can't remember what it's called, but I suggest you guys go find it. This girl throws a total temper tantrum because she wants to go to the lake, and the guy says, "No, we got to go get my truck fixed." And she starts screaming and crying. And this is a grown ass woman. This is like a 28-year old woman screaming and crying in her boyfriend's truck about wanting to go to the lake. So it just made me think of that when you're like, "Oh,
Crazy.
it was a fair near the lake. I want to go to the lake. I want to go to the lake."
It was cool down there, man.
Oh yeah, it's always
Very
nice.
laid back.
It's always nice when you can go to the lake and stuff like that. So,
Yep.
so the next portion of the question that Apollo asks, and this is actually going to tie into our main show topic. The next portion is: when was the moment you both absolutely knew that women were your preference? Wow, that's a trickier question. Because it's really for me, it's an accumulation of a lot of things. The ball started rolling back when I was 15, 16, something like that. Started looking at porn, first found trans porn, and then feeling ashamed about it, trying to get it out of my head, not being able to get it out of my head, trying to come to acceptance with it over the years, dating a cisgendered woman, realizing that she wasn't sexually attractive to me, that I really wasn't feeling it with her, that I really wanted a different kind of woman, that I really wanted a trans woman. So for me, there really was no one point where it started so much as it gradually rolled and snowballed. But I would say that the real turning point was probably within my third year of dating a cisgendered woman, and I told her that I wanted to watch transgender porn and that I had bought a transgender porn DVD. At that point in time, my relationship with her really started falling apart, and it became.
Like that was what caused it to fall apart, or?
No, 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 no. Our relationship was falling apart anyway.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Damn.
yeah, yeah. Our relationship was falling apart, and we were just really clinging to it. We were young, it was our first experience dating, stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
I had brought the trans porn DVD thing out because I think it was a ploy by me, an unconscious ploy to be like, okay, she's either gonna accept this and be cool with it, or she's gonna be like, no, get out of here. You're a queer, stuff like that. Um,
So what she do?
she was cool with it, I guess. I mean, it's hard for me to really remember, but she didn't leave me. We stayed together for about another year.
Oh shit.
Yep. And but all that time, that's really when I started really being true to myself and being like, all right, you know what, this is what I want, and this is what I'm gonna go after and stuff like that. And that's when I really started talking to my first trans girlfriend. Yeah, I was pretty skeevy, and I was talking to another girl while I was dating my cisgendered girl.
Mm-hmm.
Not exactly a proud moment. So if I had to put a timestamp on that, I would say I was around 18, 19 years old. So it was somewhere between a 3 and 4 year process for me to get there. Um, so it took some time for me. But like I said, there was no one turning point. What about you, Chris?
Um, I'd say it was around the same age, but here's the thing. I think my very first porn, and since I'm old, it was a VHS. The first piece porn product I ever paid money for was
Don't put magnets near it.
what was it called? Like Shemale Vixens or whatever. And Lisa Lawrence was in it, and a bunch of other random Brazilian scenes and
Yeah, I think
shit.
you were talking about this the other day.
And yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I got interested. I got curious about it when I was watching. It's kind of really dumb. I got curious about it through watching like a lot of daytime talk shows and stuff. And I'm just like, huh, let me check this out. So I checked it out, and like before that, I was all the magazines that I'd seen. It was all straight porn for the most
Mm-hmm.
part.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, all through college, I was having sex with cisgender women, had relationships, and I was watching transgender porn the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
So like I fucked plenty of chicks, but I was still watching transgender porn. But I mean, I still knew it was something I was into it since I first, I don't know, got in the porn period. So I mean, I was hooked from
Mm-hmm.
about 18 on. I'm not gonna lie, I did try to like straighten myself. I went and got like a straight porn to see if like I would enjoy it as much, and obviously I didn't because it was just, I don't know,
Straight
really
porn
run of the mill.
sucks. Yeah, it sucks so bad.
And I mean, it wasn't that good of a video, but
Fuck my
yeah. So
stank
about
ass
18,
pussy.
19, man, that's when I really knew like, yeah, this is the shit I'm into. But to be honest, I didn't actually start acting on it
Mm-hmm.
until much later in life. I didn't start acting on my attraction to transgender women until my early 30s.
Mm-hmm.
So until then, I was still mindset was still dating cisgender women, starting families, all that junk, small town USA bullshit.
Yeah.
Um,
So it actually took you a lot longer to make the dive than it did for me.
well,
Even though
yeah,
you
to be
started
honest, I think
earlier.
opportunity is a real factor,
Oh
and a
sure.
lot of this stuff is if you're in a place where there are transgendered women, and you have have women that you can like, kind of talk to, date, whatever, go after, like, sure. And then I wasn't really big on the online dating for a while, so I just think
Mm-hmm.
one thing that stunts not just me but a lot of guys is just the very small and elusive population of transgender women out
Oh
here.
sure.
Because I mean, a lot of the guys that date transgender women, we still identify as straight. You're not going to see me at the gay club, really. So
Yeah.
where else am I going to see these chicks? A lot of them do go out to straight clubs as well, but yeah, man, it's Wisconsin was just not the place to be. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But definitely got way more exposed to it in when I moved to Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one. It's surprising that that Atlanta is a hub for it, and well,
Man, it's
I
a
didn't
big
mean.
city.
Yeah, I wasn't saying like well, I was sort of talking about the sense that like because you're older than me,
Hmm.
you saw trans porn before I did, and then you were really watching it before I did, but it took you longer before you dated, and I get that it's an
Yeah.
opportunity thing. But that's just interesting to me because it got to a point in my life where I'm just like I can't fucking do this anymore. I can't.
Mm.
do this whole bullshit of like, no, I'm gonna keep doing this and whatever. I'm like, it's fucking killing me inside. It's driving me mad. Um, and I think that's actually a problem. I think that's an OCD problem, which I have and I obsess on thoughts and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. So for like 3 years, I was just fucking tormenting. 3-4 years, I was just tormenting myself with
Mm.
thoughts, and I'm like, nope, fuck it, can't do it anymore. Gotta be real. Gotta get out there. Gotta do it for sure. So yeah, I think those answers the questions. Hopefully, Apollo, that answers the questions appropriately for you. That you enjoyed those answers. Let us know. Drop us another email. Whatever. We'll talk to you. We'll talk to you directly, as
Yep.
long as you email us. I don't give a shit. But thanks for the questions, guys. Once again, you can always email us questions. We will always take the time and answer them.
Mm-hmm.
You just drop us that email at transtalkformen@gmail.com. Moving on to the big topic of today is the Vice article that you showed me recently, Chris.
Yep.
So first of all, tell me how you came across this Vice article. The Vice
Dude,
article
it
is.
just showed up on my feed.
Oh, did it?
Just
Okay.
randomly. Like, well, I mean, obviously I follow Vice. I
Mm.
follow a lot of credible news sources and investigative news sources.
So what you're saying is not
Um,
Fox.
yes, yeah. Not, and we can publicly say we don't fuck with Fox over
I
here.
well yeah
Even though, well, we don't fuck with Fox News.
yeah, we don't fuck Fox.
I
Fox,
like
yeah.
Aliens and
Well, yeah, I was
and
just saying
Family
Fox.
Guy. Like that shit's cool.
Well, yeah, Fox movies are fine. I don't
Yeah,
20th,
yeah,
20th Century Fox. I'm fine with that.
yeah.
We don't.
Deadpool, all
Yeah,
right with me.
yeah, that's right. We're okay with you, Deadpool.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, folks. Deadpool's all right.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
But
this
yeah,
article
Fox
came
News.
up and it was just the headline really caught me. The headline and the thumbnail really
Mhm.
caught me. The thumbnail is of a man reading looking at a porn magazine and it just says she-male on the front of it.
Sure
But
does.
then obviously the headline of the story is straight men recall the first time they were attracted to trans women. And this article is really dope because the author interviews
Mm-hmm.
four different men, different like pretty much different generations we're
Mm,
talking
yeah, well,
about here.
they really are. She did span quite the
I
generation.
mean, we're talking like older guys, middle-aged guys, super young guys, and to be honest, I think a lot of this generational stuff reflects in how people first get exposed to transgender women. Because like for me, I didn't have the internet growing up. Like I didn't have the internet in my house.
Right.
Like internet dating and or just getting online and seeing all that porn, like getting exposed to that early wasn't an option for me because it just didn't happen. But a young man that's 18 right now has probably been watching transgender porn since he was 13.
Yeah, well, yeah, and there's one guy in here. I think he's like just 18, like his balls literally just dropped. And she's like, "Hey, you wanna?" She's like, "You wanna have an interview?" And he's like, "Well, my balls just dropped, and I'd love to have an interview." Um, like his voice probably changed mid interview. Um, he's
Yeah,
a
he's a
he's a young
youngin.
dude. Yeah.
Yep.
So the article's by Diana Tourget. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I
Hmm.
actually reached out to her. Well, I reached out to Vice. I sent Vice an email and said I would like to interview Diana Tourget. So Diana, if you're for some reason listening to this and Vice never passed that email on to you, come on the show. We want to invite you. We want to interview you. We want to talk to you about this article, about your experience as a trans woman, all that shit. So that's my official invite there. Besides the besides the email that I sent. So yeah, the article that Chris sent to me, real interesting article. Like you said, she interviews 4 different guys. And then what I like about it is she actually talks about her own first experience.
Hmm.
And what's interesting about her talking about her own first experience, it says in the first 2 sentences, I'm going to read the first 2 sentences for verbatim. My first boyfriend was a straight kid from the Bronx. Alex, not his real name, was cerebral and boyishly handsome but socially anxious. She knows that there are guys out there, and this is what I think is so interesting about this whole interview process, that she talks to people who are open and stuff like that, and the questions she asks. she knows that men are embarrassed right from the get go. Her first boyfriend, she's not even naming him, and my guess is she's not even putting his real name out there because he'd be embarrassed by it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and man, that's just, I mean, to me, that's nuts that she knows. I don't know. It's just crazy that she knows that he would be embarrassed by it, and yet she's going to go through with this article anyway. And it's interesting how far the stigma and the embarrassment goes. Like, even if she put his real first name, say his real first name is Ben, how many fucking Bens live in the Bronx? I don't know. A lot. Nobody's going to know who he is. But the thing is, it's like, oh, there might be one person who knows Diana who remembers Ben, and then that shit gets out, and it's just like, that's nuts. But that to me just it struck me about it. So she talks about her first experience. She talks about how her boyfriend, we're just going to keep calling him Alex, how his dad found out that she was trans. He got mad, said that he'd been deceptive, and then
He pretty much said that the trans girl tricked his son,
yeah, right.
and then tried to blame it on some bullshit fucking story about, oh well,
I
a
used to beat
trans
him up.
girl tricked me once upon a time, and I beat her up
Yeah,
for it, and
I,
I don't want that to happen to my son. I'm like,
I
really, dude? Come on.
I punched her in the penis because I'm a real man and I eat bullets for
Yeah.
breakfast.
Well, what was really striking about this was the fact that, she was so like, I mean, she told the story that so many other trans women have,
Mm-hmm.
which is the guy that they are with is on the DL. On
Oh
the
yeah.
down low,
Yep.
that means the guy doesn't tell anybody about her. He doesn't go out in public with her. She says their 6-month relationship pretty much occurred in an apartment.
Yeah, I
Like, he
know.
wouldn't go
Yeah.
out in public with her. And that is just like, so I mean, like, hearing that, or just not hearing that, but just reading that from her, I'm like, okay, she's legit. Obviously, she knows this shit
Mm-hmm.
is fucked up out here. And
Yep.
then with all this emotional baggage she has, then she's still trying to peel back the curtain, trying to do better for
Yeah. Well, that's
society.
yeah.
So
That's
this
a
article is something that helps everyone.
yeah, and it's gotta hurt for her to even think about it or talk about it.
Hmm.
That's gotta be painful that she was somebody's dirty little secret.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rewind just a second because I want to do a PSA.
Okay.
We're gonna
PSA.
actually I'm gonna call it a TSA, a trans service announcement. But well, we talked about in the article. She says that how the dad essentially blames her for tricking the son, and how he had to beat up a trans woman because she tricked him.
Hmm.
Just a real quick aside: if you beat up a trans woman because she quote unquote tricked you, you're a fucking coward. That's it. That's all I wanted to. That's all I wanted to put out there. So
All right. Don't do it, fellas.
don't be a fucking coward. Um,
Don't beat up the ladies.
that is, I mean, beating up a trans woman because she quote unquote tricked you is such a 4-star move.
Yes. Don't be the 4-star guy.
Don't be the 4-star guy.
Because obviously you were attracted to this person at one point in time. Like,
Right, and then it's such
it
bullshit.
isn't like you were like, oh, I don't want her. And what? She's also trans too? Oh, I got to beat her up. It's like, nah, you were attracted to this person.
Well,
Now
I think that's
you're
what
hating yourself.
I think that's what it's protecting is like I was never attracted to her because I beat the shit out of her, and it's like no, you were, and we can all see through your bullshit. But the going back to the article real quick where we were, the whole he would never leave the apartment with her. That is, man, that's rough, and that's rough for her. I mean, I love a day in my house. Like I love just sitting on the couch and doing nothing. But I will go out every day of the fucking week holding my girl's hand. Man, it just sucks. I mean, there's really nothing to say other than that really sucks for her and the thing that she had to go through it and she talks about in there that she tries to console him, tries to comfort him, tries to say that it's normal, and it didn't work out, and it fucking fell apart. Yeah. So then she says in the article, and I'm going to read once again from the article. She says, For hetero men who date and fuck trans women, that's literally in the article, that sort of community can be almost impossible to find. Dozens of men contact me in any given week on dating apps. Most of them are unwilling to meet in public. Just specifically describing themselves as discreet, down low, or private.
That is really crazy.
And she
But it's
said,
also crazy how many people, how many women agree to that shit too.
"Oh yeah, I know, right?" But
Like nuts.
I think the sad part is that they agree to it because they're the only guys that are reaching out to them. You know, it's like
Hmm.
at least they can somewhat safely assume that these guys aren't going to freak out and beat them. Um, I'm not saying it wouldn't happen. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying that there is less of a risk if a guy comes to you knowing that you're trans, and it's sort of a, I think it's sort of a settling sort of thing. It's a compromise. Okay, you're not going to harm me. I will agree to not meet in public with you. Um, and as we've talked about, trans women are women, and by that I mean that they want companionship and they want a sex life and they want to be touched and loved and all that stuff. And sometimes it feels like you have to compromise when you feel like you're the outcast of society. And it's really hard. And that's, Chris, that's what, and you know this, I know you know this, and the guys listening, I know you know this, but it begs repeating, which is that's what we're doing here on this podcast. That's what we're telling you guys on every episode. Get out there, be real. Don't hide in your apartment. Don't be private or down low about it. Be out and proud. The more of us that are out and proud, the more the stigma goes away. The more power we have to be free and true to ourselves. Any thoughts on that?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. No, I
You
just
said it all, man.
Yep. Okay, so let's get into the people she talked to. She spoke with four of them. She talked with a 57-year-old white businessman and male escort on the side. She talked with a 55-year-old black father, grandfather, and financial service professional. She talked with a 37-year-old black information systems analyst. When I read that first, it took me a minute to read it because she
Is
says
there a
Joel.
black information system somewhere?
That's exactly. I'm
And
like,
he's an analyst of this black information
that's.
system.
It took me a minute to realize that Joel is black and is an information systems analysis. I'm like, what is a
Analyst.
black? I'm like, what? Oh yeah, that's it.
So he's a pretty much a computer science dude.
Yeah, but I was like, what is a black information system?
It's called Black Twitter.
Black Twitter. I I thought I honestly when I first read it, I'm like black information systems. I thought it was like black market thing,
Okay.
like he actually somehow gets information on things that are considered black or
He's the
secret,
dark web
right? And
guy.
I'm like, what the fuck was that? And then I realized, oh no, he's black and he works in information.
Hmm.
And then a 20-year-old black college student. Before we get into asking the questions or reading the questions and responses, what do you think about that split, Chris? That split stood out to me. One white guy, three black guys.
Mm.
No Asian guys, no Hispanic guys, no Middle Eastern guys. Do you think
I
that's just
don't know
luck?
if they're all from. Are they all just in New York, and that's just all she could find in New York?
I assume they're all in New York, but it doesn't
Yeah.
actually say.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but I mean, a lot of the responses speaks echoes some of the things I mentioned in earlier podcasts about the black community and its views towards trans
It certainly does, and
women.
It was interesting to
I
read that,
wasn't
but
lying.
no, well, I didn't. I don't think anybody thought you were, but yeah, the split stood out to me. The weird sort of split in that I would thought she would have gone for a complete variety, half and
Hmm.
half, or and I know this is kind of shitty of me, but I actually thought it would have been like a 3-to-1 white to black ratio.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, I mean, I'm sure she reached out to a lot of people, and these are just the guys that
mm-hmm.
responded and were willing to go on the record.
So just
Uh,
sort of a luck of the draw thing.
I think luckily drawing a little bit of that shame that we were talking about before, where people they don't want to be public.
Yeah, well, yeah,
So
that also begs the question of it's interesting that it was more black men that came out, seeing as how there's a lot of
yeah,
stigma in the community, as you've said.
yeah. And I mean, judging from at least the two older guys, the 55 and the 37-year-old guy, they and I mean, obviously, if all the older guys, older than 20, they just pretty much had it. They're like, you know what? I'm
Yeah,
done. I'm done with this shame bullshit. Like, I'm gonna live my life to be as happy as I can be, and all that shame bullshit be damned.
yeah, and the one guy's a father and a grandfather. Like
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
got he's kind of got a lot to lose in the sense that like his kids could be like, no, fuck you, dad. We're not letting you
true,
see the grandchildren.
true.
Um,
And what's interesting on that trans dating app? They got a lot of. I mean, there's a field on there. Are you okay with your partner having kids?
mm-hmm.
Some of the people that I've chatted with. Actually, I'm gonna meet up with one older lady. When I say older, she's just like mid to late 40s. Uh, she has a son,
Mm-hmm.
so it's just like, yeah, she's got kids, and it's just like, yeah, I don't mind. Like, I'm not coming in here to be somebody's new daddy, but obviously, I'm just looking for a good person. If they got kids, they got kids. That's what it is.
Well, the real question I think is, you gonna put it in the butt?
No, sir, not
No,
on the
sir.
first date.
Well, not on the first. Well, actually, you know what? I can't say that because
I'm a true gentleman through and through. I am reformed thanks to all the scorn I received at the hands of your girlfriend. This is a new Chris we're
yeah,
talking to
this is
right
the
now.
new. Yeah, she
This is
straightened
a
you
new
out, did she?
Chris. Yep, we're done.
Yeah, as you.
Actually, she got me after the last show, guys. Like after the last show, we talked it through.
Yeah, right. Well, I was gonna say, even as you heard in the last show, guys. I was gonna say when Chris said no, not on the first date. I was gonna go, oh yeah, well of course not on the first date, and I stopped myself and I went, wait a minute, I did
That's
that on
what
the
you
first.
did.
I did that on the first date, more
Which
than once
no
too.
judgment at all from having sex on the first date. Nothing wrong with that at all. Like if the fire is still there, by all means, keep pursuing it, fellas. Like
I feel judged.
it's just there is a stigma around sex on the first date.
Oh
Trans or
yeah,
cis, like people feel strange about it. Some people don't have any attachment. They like some people don't really give a fuck, but other people it really changes the dynamic, so to speak. But I mean that just means like we had a date, we fucked on the first night, and then we both enjoyed it so much we want to meet up again. All
mm-hmm,
right, I think things are pretty good right now,
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm,
this is not a bad thing.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Just
mm-hmm.
guys, if you get it on the first night, please make that second date happen. Do not be hit it and quit it, man. Don't be the 4-star guy.
Yeah, don't be the 4-star guy,
Don't be that
but
fucker.
butt sex should be a 5-star thing. So be the 5-star guy. Butt
Yes,
sex.
knock it out the park, but be a gentleman. Consider feelings. Don't use and abuse these women out here.
Yeah, and
Makes
for
it much harder for all the rest of us. We're trying to get long-term relationships to actually make that shit happen. Because
yeah, that's true.
a lot of trans ladies are super suspicious of
Super suspicious, and they
very,
have
very
every right,
suspicious of men. Period.
and they
In
have
their
every right to
intentions
be.
and what's up?
They have every right to be.
Yeah. Well, thanks to the 4-star guys out there, they
Yeah,
kind of fucked it
absolutely.
up for all of
That's
us.
that's what I'm saying. This fucking 4-star guys, bullshit.
Damn.
Fuck you 4-star guys.
Yeah, fuck you,
Um,
4-star guy. we're gonna make a T-shirt that says "fuck you, 4-star guy,"
oh man, that
and
would be.
we will be selling it on our social pages. Look for it to come out.
Oh man, that's gonna be such a good shirt.
Yep.
We gotta. If somebody out there is a graphic design artist or something like that, hit us up with some concepts for "fuck you 4-star guys."
Yes.
Absolutely. So, okay, so let's get back to that article. So the first question she asked is actually the same question we got in our email from Apollo, which is, when did you first realize you were attracted to trans women? Now, we answered that, but I want to go through what some of these guys answered and then talk about it. So let me read what everybody said, and then we'll talk about it. So the 57-year-old, the one white guy, said, in my late teens, while in college, my friends passed around a photo of a trans woman with a large penis. I like how he says with a large penis.
Hmm.
I
I mean,
feel
he's 57. That's That's how
That's,
they talk.
I guess so, but part of me feels like he wants to say like huge dick, but he's trying to be polite. Um, and he said they made fun of her, but I found myself very attracted to the photo. That's his entire fucking answer. So moving on to the 55-year-old grandfather, he said, I met my first trans woman in 1983. I was 19. She was 17. He's getting them young. Uh, so he's getting them real fresh. She was in trouble, and I stepped in and took her home. I didn't find out she was trans woman until 6 weeks later. I didn't know what that really meant at the time. I just know that I was attracted to her. The 37-year-old says, I first realized I was interested in trans women when I watched trans porn as a teenager. Trans women had previously been normalized for me on the Robin Bird show when I was about 8, and I saw how they weren't different than any of the other girls. I don't know what the fuck the Robin Bird show is. Do you?
No,
Yeah,
no.
I didn't even look it up. Because
But what was it? No, yeah, no. But I
no,
mean, this is the 20-year-old guy we're
no,
talking
this
about.
is the
So
37-year-old guy.
no, Robin Bird show. Jeremy, he's 20.
Is he?
Yeah, he's
Did I
20.
get that wrong?
Joel,
Oh,
Joel
yeah.
is 37. Yes,
Yeah, okay, my bad. They swamped it on me because they were
the
doing
young guy.
well, they were doing like oldest to youngest, and then they're just like, hey, guess what? Her, my bad. Yo, so this is the 20-year-old guy. Yep.
Damn, Robin
Um,
Bird.
Robin
But I
Bird
mean,
show.
that's like I was talking about daytime TV.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yep.
assuming this is a daytime TV show.
Well, he was 8, so I can't imagine he was doing much else but watching daytime TV. I mean,
Yeah,
I assume he had to be in bed by 7. Um, and so the 37-year-old, uh,
definitely
and
closer to my age, and we have very similar. Obviously, I wasn't doing everything that he did here, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
right, yeah. So his says my attraction started with pornography and evolved into being a John and tricking with some street workers.
Hmm.
Um,
That's
these these
crazy.
these answers are concise, uh, and there's nothing wrong with any of these answers. They're very real. They're very raw. But the one that cracks me up the most is the 57-year-old, the guy Chris. His name is Chris, not co-host
Hmm.
Chris. I just love his. They passed around a photo of a trans woman. I found myself very attracted to it. Um, very in depth.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, wow, I feel like I was there.
I mean,
Um,
that's yeah, that's I mean, it's part of the I don't is that part of the toxic masculinity? I don't know, but especially when you're in college, you're 19, you just want to fit in.
yeah,
And
well,
it's
yeah.
definitely not the time to rock the boat. So
No, I mean,
I see that situation.
I get it, and I'm not bashing on him. I just found that answer to be, for some reason, the most humorous of them.
Mm.
Um, okay, so the next question I find pretty interesting. She said, "So what happens next, or what happened next after you learned that you were attracted to these women?" Um, so she so Troy, the 55-year-old grandfather, says, I literally built 2 separate lives. One was heteronormative, married family man. The other was a guy who was familiar with and dated trans women.
Eek.
Um, yeah, that one.
That's
Well,
common.
yeah, we'll come back to that one for sure.
Hmm.
Joel, the 37-year-old dude. Is that 37? Yeah, it's
Yep.
37-year-old dude. He said, I went back to dating cis women. And I didn't bring myself to actually date trans women for a while due to the shaming that men, especially African American men, received, like the threat of being exposed for dating trans women. But I knew I was not happy dating cis women. In 2017, I decided that I've had enough of what people would think and succumbed to my desire of wanting to know and date trans women seriously. In 2018, I was finally able to get to know one lady and go on actual dates. During that time, Pose helped catapult my liking for trans women. I assume Pose is some sort of ladies
It's a
magazine.
Netflix series.
Oh, why did I
Yeah.
assume it was a mag? You know, I knew it was. I knew it was a Netflix series. You know why I
Yep.
knew that? Natalie watches it.
Uh,
Um. So
yep. Netflix.
yep, Chris, the white guy, the 57-year-old, said, at one point I started seeing trans women prostitutes. Not many, since I couldn't afford to, but I did experiment. And then I met a few girls via online chat rooms, Facebook, etc. I kind of became a sugar daddy to some women, and I would meet them as often as I could. I like how he went from couldn't afford it to becoming a sugar daddy. So
Yeah, right.
clearly, sometime in between there, Chris got a
Well, yeah,
job.
these were
Um,
over the span of a couple decades, I'm sure.
yeah, he got a job. So
Yeah,
good for you, Chris.
he
We're proud that
graduated
you got a job.
college.
Yeah, that's right. Moving on to parents' basements.
Jeremy, the 20-year-old,
Mm-hmm.
new age.
Yep. He says, after I began masturbating to trans porn, I sought out trans women online. After that, when I was 18, I downloaded Grindr. First of all, Jeremy, you just admitted to a crime. You were watching porn before you were 18. We're actually coming for you specifically. I've notified the authorities. They're looking for you.
Your mom knows.
Yeah, your mom knows. We called her. She's actually on the show. We're interviewing her right now. Jeremy, how could you? Apparently that's his mom. She sounds like an old-timey miner.
Yeah.
Anyway, I downloaded Grindr. I met up with my first trans girl. It was a good experience. I met up with like 8 to 10 more trans women. So Jeremy is playing the field, and Jeremy doesn't seem to be too worried about being labeled as a chaser. So good on you, Jeremy.
He's like, I got to be honest, I'm a little jealous of these young guys right now. Like, they have way more access to transgender women than I did when I was 20.
Oh shit, they have
I
more
mean,
access to transgender women
Joel's,
than I did when I was 20.
yeah. Like, I mean, right now, being 20 right now, dude, I mean, especially at 20, you're a fuck machine.
Yeah, that's
You're pretty much just a mechanical fuck machine.
The dick is
that,
constantly hard. I think
it never stops.
I think
you're
it's a
in
blood
peak
problem.
physical condition. You're good to go.
Uh-huh.
But man, dude, if I had that, even if they had something like Grinder back in fucking 2003, like, dude, that would be, or yeah, 2003.
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing like that back then. And to be honest, I went to college in a town that only had a population of like, I don't know, 4,000 people out. Like, there were like 12,000 college kids there,
Mm-hmm.
and then 2,000 more just town residents.
Oh yeah.
So I was in the middle of nowhere in Wisconsin. Like,
it's kind
there
of
weren't no
for my
trans
college.
people there. Well, yeah, no, not really.
Yeah.
Like, you barely saw any gay people. Like, having somebody who was gay, knowing a gay person was like, oh dang, one of like the 4 gay people on campus.
Yeah, I know, right? My college was definitely, my first year of college was definitely a bigger school than that, but the town was the same way. The town had a population of maybe 2,000, and everybody else was just a college student there. But I totally agree with you. I mean, shit, if I had an app, or if there was an app like Grindr or something like that back when I was 20, that's only 8 years ago. Back when I was 20, my dick would be in all the butts.
Oh, jeez.
Just saying. Just keeping it real all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we do here. Anyway, so there's 2 that I want to cover from the What Happened Next, which is the 2 that I want to talk about are Troy. Was he the grandfather? I can't remember. Yeah, Troy's the grandfather, and Joel, the Black Information Systems guy. So Troy says he literally built 2 separate lives. One was heteronormative, and then he actually got married, assumingly to a cisgendered woman. He says heteronormative, so we can assume that safely. And the other was a guy who was familiar with and dated trans women. So, and that is something that you hear all the time, where these guys fucking lie to themselves and have to make 2 lives, and the stigma and the shame and the society expectation is to build 2 lives. And as he said, he had a kid with his wife and stuff like that. We don't know if him and his wife are still together, but he had a kid with her and was then cheating on his wife with trans women. And that's hard, and I'm not going to judge him and say, oh, you chose wrong, you did poorly, anything like that, because life is hard. And then it, unfortunately, moves like that add to the stigma that trans women need to be not seen. They need to be in the shadows. They need to be the side piece as opposed to the main girl. And I think that's really detrimental. And I don't blame him for the way that he did that.
Well, I mean, he's got a lot to lose at that
He
point.
has
You
he
know,
has
he's a
so much to lose.
married family man. I think the uh the losses aren't just personal and emotional anymore. You're looking at a very nasty divorce.
Yeah. Well, he's still got a
You're
lot to
losing
lose
all your
even talking
money.
about this.
That's true, but I mean, I think the differentiating factor for in this situation is that you're married,
Mm-hmm.
and are
Yeah.
you willing to go through the hell of divorce, child support, not being around your kids, having your kids raised in a different house, and you like
Mm-hmm.
all those consequences of breaking up your or ending your marriage? That it's just like, I mean, I don't. That's a really tough one. To be honest, I would probably see somebody on the side too, but I guess if it got to a point where like I actually love the chick, then
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, yeah, okay.
Right.
Well, I think it's time to break this off because I have somebody else that I love and I want to build a life with them and move
Mm-hmm.
forward with my life. But
Like I said, I'm not judging Troy. I'm not
yeah,
saying that it's a shame. I'm not saying shame on you or anything like that. I totally understand it, and I get the predicament of whatever. It's what's unfortunate is that it was built. Is that the lie was built, or the lie was built way beforehand. He
mm-hmm.
he discovered trans girls. He's like, I like trans girls, and then he's like, I have to immediately split and build a lie of a life that led to this. And I think that's I think that's the unfortunate part, and I think that's the part that the guys go down. The guys, when you make that lie, when you split things that way, then you force that stigma, you force that hand, you force the trans women are there to be used and not seen, and that sort of thing. So I would encourage you to not make that lie. Um, and good on Troy in the article for being open and honest about this. Don't make that lie. Take one path over the other, because what might happen is if you lie, you're not going to hurt just one person. You're going to hurt multiple people um, along the way. You're going to hurt
Especially in
yourself.
that situation,
Right.
man.
You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to hurt whomever you marry, and you're going to hurt the girl you're dating. So, um, not good. So I want to move on real quick to Joel 37. He said he didn't bring himself to actually date trans women for a while due to the shaming of men, as we talked about. Especially African American men receive the threat of being exposed of dating.
Shout out to Cardi B.
Yeah, dating trans women. Yeah, and her bullshit. Um,
Oh, she was doing this in 2019. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
or
Well,
I'm sorry,
shaming.
she admitted to doing it in 2019. She
Right.
was
It
doing it
was.
earlier.
Yeah, and
But yeah,
she was shaming men.
yep.
Specifically, well, it sounded, and I don't know this, but it sounded like she was specifically shaming black men. Um, and I don't know if that's entirely 100% true, but that's what I understood from the article. And that just sucks. I mean, Chris, I want to kick this one over to you because I talked about the other one because the other one was more generic, but I want to hear your insights on this one. And I know you've talked about it before, but we're reading it from this guy's mouth. So what are you
Hmm.
thinking?
Oh yeah. I mean, that threat of being, here's the thing, in the black community, a lot of times, women pretty much run everything. So, they dominate how the family's going to do whatever and how people are going to perceive you. And, you know, uh, from what I've seen and a lot of like different Facebook groups and postings about transgender women, a lot of African American females, and I know there's plenty of other communities out there. I'm just talking about this one specifically. Um, from what I've seen, a lot of them have felt super threatened by transgender women. Like, oh, they're going to steal your man, and this, and that. Like, they're really afraid of losing to transgender women to the point where it just makes them absolutely hostile to the
Mm-hmm.
thought of African American men dating, marrying, being with transgender women, and it just creates this just atmosphere of shame. And then it's also the hyper masculine culture around rap.
Mm-hmm.
There's never been a successful gay rapper. Lil Nas X just came out, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if he's going to be successful from here on out. And to be honest, his hit was very much pop and universal, so it wasn't really rap in that rap world. Like you're never going to see shit. I don't even know. Like you're never going to see a group like the Migos have all three guys that are dating trans women. Like
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just not going to happen. I mean, the last time a rapper got sort of exposed for dating a transgender woman was when Tyga
Yep.
was dating a Kardashian, and it came out that he was also seeing Mia Isabella on the side
Yep.
back in like 2015. This all came out, and
He chose well.
his people had to go to her to get her to sign like an agreement not to say anything,
Yeah,
and he
non-disclosure.
denied, and she was expressing her heartbreak on social media. Like I thought all love was love, and all this, like pretty much challenging a lot of liberals and people on their platitudes of, you know, all love is important. We're accepting of everybody, when it was the complete opposite when she got exposed for being with this rapper.
Yeah, and
But
she pretty much got blamed for it too.
yeah, after that, Tiger was never his career was never the same.
Nope.
Like he gets on the track here and there, but before that, he was the man. I
Yeah,
used to listen to everything that dude put out,
I haven't even
and he
heard from
stopped
him
putting
since.
stuff out. He wasn't with the Kardashian that much longer.
Nope.
Um,
Ruined.
yeah, I mean his career was pretty much ruined, and sort of same thing happened with Chingy back in like 2005.
Mm-hmm.
But like anybody in the black rapper whatever community, urban community, like you just can't get caught with a trans woman. You can't be with a trans woman openly. And the first dude to do that and actually be successful and figures out a way to retain his masculinity in the face of all the blowback that he'll get from that is will be yeah, he'll definitely go down in history because it just hasn't happened yet. You
Yeah,
know,
and I
they would talk shit about this guy on like the Breakfast Club if to
oh
be honest,
sure,
like
oh sure, but I think part of it sounds to me like part of the reason that it still sticks and that nobody comes out is because every time these guys are caught, if I feel like if Tyga had owned up to it and instead
mm-hmm,
of running away from it and blaming Mia for it, like
mm-hmm,
I'm not saying that his career wouldn't have gone to shit and whatever, but
mm-hmm.
he might have retained something. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Instead he succumbed to shame,
I mean,
and that's too bad.
he's pretty much at that point. He's pretty much gay. Like,
Right
oh,
in the
dude,
community,
you
right
gay? Like,
in
whatever.
the
And
community, yeah.
like
Um,
that. I mean, he wouldn't have been labeled. He wouldn't have been able to keep his heterosexuality, his heterosexual persona,
hmm
so to speak, and be in that public space.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess I would have had a lot more respect if he had still fought for that and he still said I'm straight and stuff like that. And I
Yeah,
know that's not what you're saying.
yeah, yeah.
It's just I'm thinking out loud while we're talking
Now,
about
to
it and
be
that kind of
honest,
thing. So
Mia was the side piece. Like he
yeah,
was
she
with this
was.
Kardashian. So
Yep.
I mean, there's always whether it's trans or cis, you're gonna be in trouble.
Well,
People are
sure,
gonna
and
talk shit about you.
he would have gotten in trouble for that, but he would have been able to
Hmm.
field it a lot better if,
True.
say he was with somebody from college that he knocked up, and he was with her, and the side
Hmm.
piece was a Kardashian. That wouldn't have nearly damaged him.
True.
They would have been like, "Oh shit, you fucked a Kardashian. You know, you're a real, real man, real player, whatever
Uh,
the fuck." Um,
shit. I don't even know. That's a fucking suicide request right there. Dating one of them girls,
oh
man.
yeah, well, I mean,
Nobody comes out on top after dating a Kardashian.
I wouldn't
There's
have.
never been one black man in the history of humankind that has dated a Kardashian and was like, "Oh yeah, I came out better on the back end of
Are
this."
you trying to imply that Kanye isn't on top of the world right now? Um,
He's on top of the crazy person world. Yeah,
oh my God, is he ever? That's just,
yeah.
I mean, that is a total topic for another. I think we could start a whole nother podcast of like,
Just talking shit about Kanye and
yeah,
his
just be like, just
ridiculousness.
call it "What the fuck, Kanye."
Yeah, right. But
You
you
and your
know,
shirts.
I'm circling back to the article with Joel.
Uh-huh.
It's interesting that started dating transgender women in 2017,
Mm-hmm.
which was the same year I dated my first one, to be honest.
A good year, quality
But I
year.
mean, like guys in our generation, like I mean, I gotta be honest. For as long as I was just fine, like dating cisgender women, like whatever. I was just trying not to get anybody pregnant. I mean, real talk.
Yeah,
But
no, yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's just interesting that like he's 37 now.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 years ago he was 35 when he dated. So 30 at
Mm-hmm.
35 he overcame the fear of being outed, exposed, being viewed as lesser, being viewed as lumped in as just like, okay, you're gay. You're not a man anymore. You're just oh, that's
Mm-hmm.
just some gay dude now. Like,
Yeah,
because
for
that's
sure.
what the classifications how that all breaks down.
Yeah, well, and he even said he got fed up with it. He got fed up
Yeah.
with not living his true self,
Mm-hmm.
and I think also what that speaks to is in this whole article, what it speaks to is we have guys of all age ranges here that you can be true to yourself. You can start being true to yourself at any age, and there are women out there that are ready to reciprocate and be with you. Um,
Yeah.
so
Especially in
so
2019, it's
yeah.
easier than any other point in human history
So
to date somebody trans
yeah, and it also just
and be and not like being out a social outcast.
yeah, and it's also to say that guys, there you come out, be real. Don't pull this bullshit of oh I'm too old now and I'm set in my ways. No, fuck your ways. Um, your ways are very 4 star. Move up to 5 star. That's what I'm saying. All right,
Mm.
moving the fuck on. Let's see. Okay, let's hit this one. So she asks, Diana, the author asks, is it important for you for a trans woman to pass as a cisgender woman? Also, do you gauge your attraction to trans women based on whether they're pre, non, or post op? Troy, old white guy. No, Troy's grandpa.
Yep.
Chris is old white guy.
Hmm.
Troy's grandpa. He says passing is very subjective. Some of the world's most beautiful women are trans, and I can tell that they are. It's more about feminine energy she gives off. I prefer pre-op and non-op. I'm just going to fire through these real quick because we're going to take it as a whole. Joel, 37 years old, says, as of now, I've only dated two trans women, or wait, dated two women of trans experience. I don't know what that means. I assume he means trans women.
Hmm.
Both of whom were pre-op, but I am open to dating post as well. Jeremy, young kid, says the question is odd to me because the idea of passing is very situational and changes from person to person. So I'm attracted to any trans person who I find sexy. Pre-op or post-op doesn't matter to me at all. I've been with people who are both, and I don't have a preference. We've touched on this one before. Is passing important to you or not? And I like the concept of it's subjective and the same. And to me, what that means is it's subjective, and that who you find pretty and who you don't find pretty is is a situational, subjective, person to person thing. So if I didn't find you pretty and you had a vagina in your pants and I didn't know it and I was an asshole, I could be like, that's a man right there. And I could be 100% wrong. So I think the past thing is more about what you're looking for. Do you pass for me? Um, I mean, I've heard tons of people, and I've heard this before in places of work, who people are like, wow, that chick's really tall. I think she's really a man and stuff like that. And I've heard people say that, and I'm like, that chick has children that are hers, like that she birthed. I don't think she's transgender, and it's what I mean to say by that is the whole pass not pass thing is sort of it's really subject in that short of growing a mustache, um, you can probably pass. So that's my feelings on that one. Chris, any thoughts on
I
that?
gotta be honest. I think I'm on the other side of the coin of this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really think passing is subjective. I think it's uh I mean, fellas, just be honest with yourselves. Like, and then and we talked about this a little bit before. Trans women, if you're listening to this, be honest. Like, just know, like deep down whether somebody can look at you and tell that you're trans or not, or that you would stick out in the crowd. Um, I think passing is more of just a well, obviously, passing is how the world views you.
Yes.
So, is your girl? I mean, does your trans girl look I don't know. Does she look whatever kind of way she needs to look to pass? That I mean, that's the real question. That's are you passing or not? Because if guys, if you don't care whether your girl passes or not, then that's cool. But that a lot of that comes with a lot more scrutiny, a lot more
Oh
shit
sure.
talking, a lot more problems in public.
Oh sure.
And for me, I would rather have a chick that passes a lot easier, or just doesn't have. I'm sorry. I like I like women that can pass. Whenever they dial themselves up and we go out to clubs or whatever else. Now we don't like. I don't know. I think that stuff really matters because it changes your dating experience. So
Well,
if your
that
girl
and
doesn't pass at all, you're gonna get a lot more looks. You're gonna get a lot
that's what I
more
was gonna say.
ignorant comments from dudes. And I mean, how often do you have to fight to prove your love? Like,
Well, that and it's
I'm
just
not out here trying to fight the streets with my mighty fists of justice.
Streets of Rage,
Yeah.
which the new one's coming out. But
But
anyway,
when I read this question, I really had to think about it. Like, does this matter? Is that important to me? I never really actually thought and looked inside myself and just to see if that matters to me. And sadly, it does.
well, yeah, and I think there's also a point. I don't even know if it's sadly, but I think it's also a point where it's not even so much that you're ashamed of this person and that you wouldn't find them person if they didn't quote unquote pass to other people, but it's
Hmm.
comes a point in time where you're like, I don't want to put up with people's shit anymore. I just want to be able to eat a fucking spaghetti dinner and not have to fucking deal with this garbage, because that could be taxing. Stress comes in a lot of forms.
Yeah.
um
But it isn't even 100% their looks,
mhm.
well,
It could
their
be their
body
it
itself.
could be
It's
their
like,
actions and their
well, they
mentality
got to
and how they
dress
hold
up,
them and how
like
they hold themselves. Yeah.
if like, look, I'm just saying, fellas, you got to make sure your girl is ready to look good whenever y'all out on the street together. That's my whole policy with cis or trans chicks. If we're out together, we need to be looking good because my mate is a representation of me. So you're representing me on the streets and I'm representing you. And I wouldn't never come out the house bummy. My hair ain't cut. I don't have my shit together. And for the ladies, I want you to come out looking cute and, put together pretty well in a way that, people ain't really turning heads. But if you come out, with sweatpants and I don't know, whatever the fuck else, like just if you don't really care, you don't keep yourself up, you don't care about your appearance, that really affects your ability to pass. And then it's I don't know, I just don't like being with like bummy chicks, so to speak. Like I like people that like to dress up and like to look good as possible.
Hmm.
Because obviously all that matters is how much you're attracted to this person and when you're in the sheets. But
Oh
when you're
yeah.
out on the street, you gotta be presentable. This
Hmm.
is not a no makeup challenge. Fuck all that shit, man. Like this is the real world. You will be judged. So,
um yeah, actually, I'm gonna change my answer a little bit. um my answer is going to be fuck passing, and the reason I say that is
hmm
because I've always been team no tuck. So ladies, let your bulges out. Let
now
your bulges
that's
out, let us
cool
know.
at the swimming pool. Yeah, all right. I fucks that. We at Vegas. We at the nice luxury pool. Yeah, no, let it out because
i
everybody just gonna be jealous looking.
I'm
All the other
saying,
guys gonna be looking. They can fake like they're disgusted, but they really want to know.
oh, they're looking, oh, they want to know,
They're
yeah.
they're interested.
I say team no tuck everywhere you go, because if I was a single man,
Hmm.
and all the girls were out there team no tucking, I would
Hmm.
know who to slide up on, and I would be a smooth operator. Um,
Now,
slide
I mean, a lot of
slide right into
chicks.
those DMs.
I mean, I've seen. Obviously, we're on Twitter, so we've seen a lot of beautiful trans ladies in dresses, and then we've seen pictures of them in dresses where they don't tuck.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they have a full on like raging bone or anything like that, but they're like they just didn't tuck, and you could see a little bit of it there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that shit is definitely sexy to guys like us. Like,
Oh
I
yeah.
definitely fucks with that. But
Oh yeah.
you're still pretty. Your hair's done. Your makeup's done.
Yep.
She's got her, too cool for school sunglasses on.
Mm-hmm.
Dress is looking great. Body's looking good. Like
Bet she wears
she's
them at
done
night.
everything she can to fix herself up in an attractive being. Because to be honest, I guess I'm just one of those people. That's not every time, not most of the time, but sometimes I want to be with somebody that everybody wants.
Oh yeah, no, I mean I get that. That's also a status thing. That's a sort of that's a hey, I got this, you don't. Sucks to
Mm-hmm.
be you. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no, I totally get that. Let's move on. I got one more thing to cover. She asks
Yep.
a couple other questions. She asks, uh, "Are you straight? Are you not? Whatever." They all say they're straight. Doesn't matter. We've talked about it. You know how that is, guys. Trans women are women. That's all we can say about it. So don't fucking fret about the sexuality bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Last one I want to get to is she asks all these guys, what sort of changes do you believe might be useful now for men like you to experience this sexual attraction and be able to accept it in a healthy way? Long story short, listen to podcast of Trans Talk for Men podcast. End of it. We'll talk to you guys next time. No, I'm kidding. Um, so I'm gonna go through. I'm going to go through their answers. So Jeremy, young guy, says, "I think the best thing we can do for men to normalize relationships with trans women is for them to see trans women in non-sexual places. I think the biggest change in society, well, the way you see them in non-sexual places is no tuck. Anyway, I think the biggest change in society that helped me, but not older men, was that I saw trans women represented in not just sexual ways, like in the movie I Am Jazz. In high school, hearing about the big debate with Ben Shapiro and Zoe Tour, people
Yeah, I've
were
seen that.
discussing. I haven't seen that because I won't watch anything with Ben Shapiro because he's a fucking idiot. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Ben Shapiro, he's not even a 4-star guy. Ben Shapiro is a fucking 1-star guy. You're a piece of trash, Ben Shapiro. And if you hear this, you can actually come on the pod, and I'll call you a piece of trash and then kick you right off. Anyway, I have no patience for that asshole. Sorry, guys. I know it was a little bit political. I can't even. He said so. Ben Shapiro and Zoe Tour, people were discussing whether we should gender trans women as women or men. People were talking about trans women in sports. It was a cultural conversation. Troy, the grandfather, said men need to come out of the shadows. I've hung out with professional athletes, actors, and rappers. I've partied with my boys in the neighborhoods and with celebrities. I've watched men from all walks of life date trans women in secret and in stealth. I've had family members, friends, and colleagues who have been with, have dated, or are attracted to trans women. Men need to stand up and stop lying. Men live in fear. And he said, cis men are not in danger because we are attracted to or date trans women. Our fear, however, is killing trans women. Troy is hands down my favorite in this whole article. That dude, that dude gets it. I mean, that
That's
is.
that's wisdom right there.
Oh,
It's
it
that
is.
old wisdom,
It's
fellas.
it's wisdom, and it is. It you can feel that he's come from a place where he said, "I lived a lie, and I'm tired of it, and I'm not
Mm-hmm.
doing it anymore, and I'm gonna spend the rest of my life being real." He is hands down my favorite. I mean, I don't even really have anything uh, extra to say to that because he puts it. I mean, he really puts it out there. And like he said, I think the best thing he says right there is, "Guys, it doesn't hurt us to be stealthy, but it is killing the women that we love." Um, and that's some bullshit, and we can't do that. We can't. We can't.
I
We
think
can't
the
put these.
number was 12. 12 trans women murdered this year, and all of them were black.
Yeah, right. And we can't do that. We can't continue to hide in the shadows while these girls get hurt and killed. And
Mm-hmm.
that was not my thinking when I came to Chris when we were buddies and we were talking, and I said stuff about the podcast was not so much to protect the women, but to make a community for men to be open. And I get that the benefit is that if the community does become open when we put out these podcasts, when we have our social media, when we make the community, when we boost ourselves up, that we do protect those women. And I hadn't even thought about it at that time. But I am proud to say that what we are doing here on the podcast is also attempting to help these women be protected. And so, guys, get out of the shadows. Um,
Get out of the shadows. and join the communities on our social channels. Get on
Yeah, and
Facebook,
be
start having some great conversations with other guys just like us.
yeah. Speaking about the shadows, didn't somebody message you when you put out the Instagram or something like that about like
Yeah. So we have a Discord with a couple hundred guys on there, and they're all, trans attracted. We have lots of conversations about dating apps and
mm-hmm,
which kind of, I don't know. We just talk about a lot of different junk.
mm-hmm.
And so I put out the call to all the guys, like, hey, everybody, join, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, like really help us build this community up. And the first comment we got after telling people to follow us on Instagram, like us on Facebook, was of a guy saying, "Yeah, so like I don't really want to be public about this because some of my friends are really ignorant about this." And
Sack
like
up.
the guy was like super scared, and I'm like, "Dude, you're just liking a Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
You're just following an Instagram account.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if people want to judge you for the Instagram accounts you follow, then I mean, a lot of people would be in deep shit because people follow some pretty dumb shit online.
Yeah,
But
and your friends suck if they're going through your shit like that.
yeah, it's I just I don't really see the problem with it, and also back to your point before about helping to be I'm sorry helping to protect trans women and all this
Mm-hmm.
stuff, guys. It could be as something as small as just expressing your outrage, whenever there's a murder reported, telling
Yeah.
everybody to be cool, like letting people know that or you believe that this shit isn't cool and that this is not the kind of things that needs to be happening in America.
Yeah,
Like
it's that's
anything
the
that
small
shames
stuff. Yeah.
trans women, whatever, these articles are posted on sites like Vice or your
Mm-hmm.
local news station.
Yep.
These are not, you don't have to go to lgbtnews.com to see
Nope.
all this stuff. This is out there in the public, in the general discussion out there. So, I mean, definitely be an ally as much as you can on social media, but then also join us. Join us. Join everybody else listening to the podcast. Facebook, Instagram. Start posting. Start your own conversation starters on our Facebook. When we post our show clips on Instagram, let us know your thoughts. Like,
Yeah.
actually, we've had some pretty useful comments on Instagram. Like,
Yeah.
by all means, get on there, start chatting, let us know your thoughts, hit us in the DMs. Like, this is a community, and we're here to normalize all this shit
Yep. And
and put you
engage.
around
Take the
other guys that
polls.
like what you like.
Yep.
All I can ask is, please don't be, and to be honest, yeah, this is a 4-star move as well.
Yep.
Please just be regular people. I don't want to see a picture of your dick on our Facebook account.
Nope.
I don't want to see. I just don't want things to get too gratuitous because you know what? A lot of people out in this world they get way too gratuitous when it comes to this stuff. We're just regular people.
Yep.
We like trans women. That is one aspect of our life, but we can talk about dating and our thoughts and relationships just like we do on the show here.
Yep. Or we can talk about
It doesn't
movies,
have
or
to
we can
all
talk about
about be about,
games
oh yeah, her
or
cock's so
sports.
big and
Yep.
oh look at this girl's boobs and not like it, that's not 100% where we're going, what we're going for. There is a time and a place for that, but on our platform we really want to bring everybody into the fold and let them know that dating trans women is normal and you're not alone, you're not the only guy out there. And to be honest, we're going to do a lot of things that put us in the same space physically too.
Yep.
I mean, I was talking with Eric about this, like we're going to start, once we build up even just a few hundred guys as a community, I want to start having, a yearly event.
Yep.
We're like, hey, everybody, we're meeting up at Susie Villa in New York, or
We're having a
we're all
party.
going on a cruise, or we're going wherever the fuck. Like,
Yep.
we're going to Cheetahs in Hollywood.
Yep.
Like, and we can work with these venues, and like, this could really be a thing.
Yeah. And we
And
want it to be.
we really want you guys. We need your help to start this. Sorry,
Yeah.
what were you saying?
No, I said we want it to be. We want it to be a thing, and we want it to be a community, and we want it to be healthy, and we want to bring you guys up, and we want to be. We also want to be there for you. Chris and I want to be able to speak for you too. We want to amplify your voices out there. Even if you say, look, I want to stand up and say this sort of thing, but I'm slightly nervous. You send it to us, and we will put it out there. Um, and we'll say more and more of these guys are saying no, this is not okay, that kind of thing. Come to us, let us help you, help and then have you guys help us at the same time. It's a camaraderie thing. It's a community. It's a brotherhood that we're trying to bring together. We're trying to really just trying to boost everybody up. We're trying to boost you guys up, and we're specifically talking to you guys because we're guys and we understand it, but we also want to bring up our trans sisters too. God, really, I couldn't have said it any better, Chris. I think you fucking nailed it on the head. And really, that's the end of the article, and that's really the end. Not all that I have for today's show. You got anything else to add?
Yes.
Okay.
Reminder: rate us, guys. Rate our podcast 5 stars.
No,
Give us 5 stars.
You said rate them 4 stars, right? Oh no,
5
that's
stars.
right. Fuck you, 4-star guys. Rate
Fuck
5
you,
stars.
4-star guy. Be the 5-star guy, please.
Yep.
Rate us 5 stars. Again, join all of our social channels. We will be clipping out parts of the show for you guys to talk about gender and conversation,
Posting
all that
polls.
stuff. We're all over social now. Get a hold of us.
Yep.
Be a part of the community.
Absolutely.
That's it. That's all I got, brother.
Hey, that's all I got, buddy. So until next time, guys, it's been Trans Talk for Men. I've been Eric.
I'm Chris.
See you later.